I think the desire to work in the hospital as a chaplain came from when I volunteered there a couple of years ago. I volunteered for a few months and I absolutely loved it. I remember one time sitting back in my car after going around some of the wards and talking with patients and just literally crying and saying to God, this is what I want to be doing. But there were no positions available, so I got a job somewhere else doing something else. And then just out the blue, I was contacted by the lead chaplain to say that there was a position available and would I like to apply for it. At that point, I just knew that that's really what I wanted to do, but it felt like a really big mountain to climb because I was just thought, well, I haven't got this and I can't do that and I haven't got the experience. And Wednesday House Church were just amazing on the journey with me. They just prayed and supported, and I kept getting through to the next stage and the next stage, and then I got to interview and I got the job and I started in March this year. No 2 days are the same. I never know what I'm going into. We start with prayer. I've gradually started introducing them to Lectio 365, so we now generally do that of a morning and then pray out of that, which is great. And then we start round the wards, so we're all allocated different wards to make sure the hospital is covered. Part of my rounds are maternity and paediatrics and a couple of other wards. So generally you just visit the ward, you speak to patients, you ask staff if there's any patients that might value a visit from you, and that they do value the chaplains and they know the support that we can give, particularly when there were no visitors allowed in the hospital. Sometimes chaplains were the only people that patients would see. When I first started, one of the wards I visited daily, this lovely lady called Pamela. She was an elderly lady. She was bedridden. She obviously had no visitors, but she was a Christian, and I would just go and sit with her and play her favourite hymns to her and read scripture with her. And she couldn't really talk too much, but just her eyes just said thank you. And there's a piece in the Bible that says, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? And I think when we visit Christians, that's what we're trying to help them do, help them to sing the Lord's song in a strange land. So as well as patients, we also support staff. A lot of them are overstretched and just don't have time to process things. We were asked to run reflection spaces for critical care staff out of the back of the last wave of COVID. They'd really struggled. They maybe on a general week see 1 to 2 deaths. During COVID they were seeing 6 and 7 a day, and staff were really struggling to process that. So one of the first things I was part of with the team was running a reflection space, and proximity schools, and the experience I had with that just came into its own. They're like, can you do that, Caroline? I thought, yeah, I might have some ideas. So that was brilliant, just to be able to open that space up for staff to speak and share and process what they'd experienced during the pandemic. And it was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking at times, but really good to be able to support them. But another aspect of the work is when we get called to end of life. Actually, it's quite a big part. So invariably families or the patients themselves will want to see a chaplain when they're at the end of their lives. We can offer religious or non-religious blessings, or just be a presence with the family or with the patient that's dying at that time. Obviously that's not easy, and some of them are tragic, some of them are young, some of them are sudden. But I think it's really important just to remember that you can just be there for that time with that person, and just your presence is sometimes enough. Sometimes there's no words and you can't fill the silence with words. It's just the presence is enough, and then it's just making sure that you save some of your emotion for yourself as well, and you don't just give it all, because then you're always running on empty. I think a challenge is, where do you see God? Where do I see God amidst that tragedy? And again, I just see it as His presence in the hands and feet of the nurses, in the love that patients receive from their family, in the presence that chaplains can give. I don't understand it all, and it's okay to trust. to trust God in all things and just keep supporting and loving and doing what we do for the time that we're with those people. So how can people support me? I think just when you remember me, just pray, just to be upheld in the work that I'm doing. It can be tiring, it's emotional. As much as it's rewarding, it's an honour to do what I'm doing. It's an honour to walk around that hospital and be it's like the hands and feet of Jesus, that's how I feel. But sometimes I get home and I'm exhausted. The last thing I want to do is cook a meal or clean my house or even talk about my day. It's just, you just want to huddle up a little bit. But I think it's important for me to exercise and to eat well, but to be supported prayerfully. And I think also a lot of the stuff I can't talk a lot about either. I think that sometimes can be quite difficult because I like to share things, hearts on the sleeve. But just to know that you've all been on this journey with me, especially Wednesday House Church, and other people have been fully on this journey with me, and even to be here now to talk and to share it is amazing, and this church is amazing. So just thank you, everyone.